Hello and welcome to CDAO Magazine interview series. I'm Michael Sieczko with Lingaro, a data analytics company, and we are partnering today with CDAO Magazine, MIT CDAO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today I have a pleasure of talking with Jean-Loup Loyer, Chief Data Analytics Officer at Eramet.
Hello everyone, thank you for hosting me today.
Most of the companies that we see on the market, they are going through digital transformations, of course, being at different stages of it. How do you perceive the technological part of digital transformation efforts versus the human and organizational transformation that needs to happen at the same time to make it an overall?
So that's really a great question. Technology is really necessary as a practical, let's say, the very concrete lever for digital transformation. But it is not enough. It's not enough to succeed in digital transformation. More importantly, technology can't be a means to an end. If you take technology as a means to an end, you won't be able to change the businesses, to change how your colleagues work on the field. So, for instance, you can put in the hands of a business team the best algorithm ever. It's not going to give good results if it doesn't really answer their needs, if the users are not trained to use it properly, if the business team itself is not adapting its way of working to better take into account the outputs of an algorithm into their daily working routines. So the human side is really, really important. And in digital transformation, the most important word is actually transformation. So it starts with understanding the trends in our industry and beyond that, as well as the strategy of our company, so that our digital initiatives and the data initiatives remain relevant and operate according to the strategy of the company. Then it requires a very deep empathy for our businesses, so we can understand their pain points, identify potential improvement, and design and build solutions that will help them. And last but not least, follow-up. We need to do a follow-up of the ways the digital products are being used and the actual value they bring, so we can measure the impact of our work. So we have to work with cost controllers, businesses, to actually measure how many dollars our solutions also make our colleagues save on the field, so we can track the progress and be sure that we have funding for the next year. So the human side is really, really key to have a successful digital transformation.
Thank you. You already mentioned about your experience, and it consists of different pieces, one of them being consumer marketing-driven organization like L'Oréal. Now it's a very engineering-heavy, I would imagine, company like Eramet. How do you see the use of analytics being different between the two? From your perspective, is analytics universal, or is it more industry specific, or to what extent it becomes specific when you go into this industry?
Well, it's both. So in a B2C company like L'Oréal, especially on the analytics side, there is more work around consumer behavior modeling, churn prediction, market segmentation. So there is more like a psychological or sociological oriented types of data analysis, right? You have also higher volume of data, more diversity of data, and you often have a lower control on the processes that generate the data, because you will get it from people using their smartphones, and you have no idea who they are sometimes and what they did. So it's difficult to have a tight control on the data quality. You also have to deal with privacy issues like GDPR in Europe. Ethical and fairness issues also are becoming more and more important. So in B2C, you're in direct contact with the customer. So at L'Oréal, you have to deal with those issues. In a B2B2B industry and heavy industry like Eramet, it's different. All the analyses that we make are more related to a business process with a very physical or tangible reality. And you work on a pump, right? You work on a chemical process. So that's very, very tangible. Usually you have lower volumes of data, but often they are more complex with more variables, and they can be tricky. Also, you have a better grasp on the business processes generating the data, but still you might have a lot of errors due to bad data management and mistakes made by the business people. But if you really want to have a good control of the data, you know how to do this, because you can really go back to the source of the data, which is often not possible in a B2C setting. And then in heavy industry, B2B, there are less issues related to privacy or ethics, because we don't operate with consumer data. So that makes things a bit simpler. But explainability becomes more important, because we are dealing with phenomena with often some physics under that. So you really have to be able to explain something, to explain how your algorithm work and try to put them in a context that's based on physics or chemistry or logistics. So there are differences, but yet the foundations of analytics, so the methodologies, the project management structure, the data science techniques, they're still applicable all across the board. And that's how also I have been able to switch from government to aerospace to cosmetics and now mining. And I'm sure I could be working in another field, because all the techniques, all the methodologies are applicable to all industries, but then with different flavors when you want to apply them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a great insight for this industry specific. If I would like to dip a bit deeper on this, I would ask you what is specifically unique out of these elements for your industry. So most of our audience may not be familiar with heavy industry, mining, metallurgy. So we're keen to hear what are the top use cases out of analytics helping your company proceed.
Yeah, sure. So first, mining and metals is really a fascinating sector for analytics, because you connect local issues. So managing the relationship with the local communities around the mine, that's vital for your business. And you connect these local issues with the global issues like global economy, commodity prices, geopolitics, and so on. So that's really unique, first, to the context of our industry, and that shapes the type of analytics that we'll do. And then we have a lot of use cases. A company like Eramet, we're also a train operator. We have a lot of logistics, of course, a lot of mining, and a lot of mining, especially open pit mining, like we do, is very close to civil construction in many ways. What we do in metallurgy is closer to chemistry, so it's closer to what happens in pharmacy and pharmaceutical industry or cosmetics. But if I had to, so we have a lot of use cases, but then some of them are really unique to industry. So one of the most iconic one is improvement of metallurgical processes. So we operate these huge metallurgical furnaces, right? That gathers, that ingest huge amount of coal, of ore, of other things, and they produce this liquid metal at more than 1,000 degrees Celsius. So that's very unique. And these equipment are just massive equipment, and they are equipped with thousands of sensors measuring temperatures, pressures, water flows, openings of valve, and so on and so on. And we gather data from all these sensors, and then we process them, we segment them to identify coherent processes. We make predictions about some process parameters, about the quality of the output of the alloys. So that's really interesting and very specific to our industry, and it involves a lot of time series analysis and also crossing other types of data. Then we have something very unique about management of local communities and environment. So of course our mines have an environmental impact and also social impact on the people who live nearby. So we have an example in Senegal where we fly drones over our mines to have a digital twin of our mines every 2 weeks or every month, and we use deep learning techniques to detect to identify automatically trees, villages, fields, wells, paths. And we do that to be sure that we have minimal impact on the local population, and sometimes helping them to relocate or to compensate our impact. So that's really something unique to our industry. Also, environmental rehabilitation. Sometimes we dig somewhere, so we have to remove some trees, and we want to plant them back after. So that's very important that you track that what you have modified has been restored. Also, in some parts like New Caledonia or in Gabon, there are pockets of biodiversity next to our mines that are really unique and are protected by UNESCO and other UN entities like that. So we have to be sure that we monitor them and we protect them, and that the mine doesn't doesn't impact this unique biodiversity places. So this is a type of unique project for industry. Then we have a lot of others about geology, where we use data from a ground survey. So we drill holes on the ground. And then we take hundreds of meters of rock that we analyze automatically with computer vision. We have data coming from geologists hiking on the field, in the forest, or in a mountain. And we also use data from satellite imagery, and we combine all this data together to have and we analyze them with machine learning techniques to better understand the properties of the rocks that are in our concessions, and so as to better estimate the mineral resources. So these are some of the projects that are unique to our industries. And what is interesting that analytics projects in mining have a direct impact on the bottom line. This is a very capital-intensive industry. So when you improve the operations, you usually can see the effect almost immediately. So that's also something that's very interesting in our business.
Thank you for this very interesting insight. I especially like the fact about how analytics helps your company to manage its environmental impact.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So we've come through all of our questions. I would like to thank Jean-Loup for joining me today. And for all our viewers, please visit cdaomagazine.tech for additional interviews and content. Thank you.
Thank you for having me today.